Thank you. The committee is resumed, and I have been advised that the issue has been resolved. So the approach now would be, again, refer only to the report of the Public Accounts Committee and adopt or any questions around the recommendations only, then we move on to the next one. That's the understanding that I think was reached before during the brief break. So on that approach, go back to head 17, Ministry of Provincial Government, which referred to, as I said today, page 118, 123 of the report, and see the recommendations thereat, and then any comments or call for adoption of the recommendation, or not to take up too much time on what the recommendation says, and then we'll put it straight to the vote. Okay, so for your noting, if you refer to the to head 17 report of the PAC on head 17, there are no recommendations for consideration or put to the committee. So on that note, I will call the question, right? And the question is that the sum of $156,388,498 stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $156,388,498 for head 17 now stands part of the schedule. Head 18, Ministry of Lands and Housing. Ministry of Lands, Housing and Survey. It is proposed that the sum of $26,506,333 for head 18 stand part of the schedule. Again, there are no recommendations in the report of the PAC on this head. And therefore, I will put the question. The question is that the sum of $26,506,333 for head 18 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $26,506,333 for head 18 now stands part of the schedule. Head 19, Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination. The proposal here is that the sum of $10,949,537 for head 19 stands part of the schedule. Any recommendations? There are two recommendations, one on page 133 and 134. Any comment on that before I put the question? Thank you. If there is none, let me put the question. The question is that the sum of $10,949,537 for head 19 stand part of the schedule. For those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $10,949,537. Sorry, $10,949,537 for head 19 stand part of the schedule. Now stand part of the schedule. Head 20, Ministry of Culture and Tourism. It is proposed that the sum of $29,630,566 for head 20 stand part of the schedule. Also, there is no recommendation from the outcome of the PAC consideration of this head. I will therefore put the question. The question is that the sum of $29,630,566 for head 20 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $29,630,566 for head 20 now stands part of the schedule. Head 21, Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Labour and Immigration. It is proposed here that the sum of $75,9 $837,166 for Head 21, stand part of the schedule. There are two recommendations in the report on pages 151 and 152. Any comment on those two recommendations before I put the question? Thank you. If there is none, sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So when we come to these recommendations, it would be good for the ministers to respond to the recommendations. So without us probing questions, they should look in normal recommendation where relate lot or the answer now, and then that may lead to one or two other questions.
Procedure. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. On that note, I will ask the Minister for responsible to his comments on those recommendations. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. I think there are two recommendations under Ministry of Commerce. Recommendation 34, the committee strongly recommended that the Director of Immigration deport the illegal minors or foreigners linked to criminal activity to protect the country's integrity as an investment destination. Thank you, Chairman. This one, I will work close with the Minister of Mines and Energy for really pinpointing or serving good long people here, and then we can act on it. The other recommendations, Emi Longo recommendation 35, in which the committee recommends the Ministry of Agriculture to be part of our representative in the board for SEMA. I think that's a good idea. And to our colleague here and just discuss it number two, and we will pursue that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any comments from the Minister's response to the two recommendations? Thank you. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The responses are good, but act on them. Sideload mining, we have been attracting some characters that are a little bit shady and slippery. So we do need to protect this industry, need to be a little bit more firm, which means coordination between the two ministries to make sure that only credible characters are involved in this industry. Lo side lo SEMA board, there's a lot of good things that the agriculture is wanting to do, but there's a clear disconnect between what they're wanting to and trying to do and what SEMA is thinking of doing. So having a senior management person from ministry on the SEMA board would cause greater alignment so that we're not duplicating activities and resources and also. So this too is a good response, but hurry up now, do you know make any benefit one? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. That's noted by the Ministry's concern. Is there a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Leader of Opposition. I think it's a very important point, that one, long workers that are autumn breaching or same law that are laws and I think it's a matter that every enforcement agent, law enforcement agent, includes the police, immigration, of course, labor, and of course the ministry responsible along our mines, from you all work together on that and quickly act on it. In fact, there have been some of these workers who came under tourist visas, which have been detected already and have been dealt with. So some actions have already been taken. And along the side of the SEMA, we will take note of that recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And with that, let me put the question. The question is at the sum of 75 million. $837,166 for head 21, some part of the shell. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. The sum of $75,837,166 for head 21 now stands part of the schedule. Head 22, Ministry of Communication and Aviation, it's proposed here that the sum of $32,814,604 for head 22 stand part of the schedule. There are two recommendations on this, and if any will comment, please, Honourable Minister, the recommendations, maybe you can clarify. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. With the two recommendations, first one is the committee recommended the ministry to focus on airport locations with only one landowner to avoid complex boundary disputes, citing the difficulties encountered in Makira. Here, Chairman, the ministry was planning to pay off the airport at Kira, but as I have stated earlier in my intervention, there were three parties into that area, and earlier two agreed, one disagreed. Now it's two disagree, one agrees. So it's difficult, but I can assure you, currently we have Vanikoro and Moi. The landowners have offered to pay off Moi on Java and the one in Vanikoro. So the government is looking seriously on that. There's still further consultation happening on the Kira airport. But as far as it is concerned now, as we speak, no any conclusion by him yet. But the ministry is trying its very best to make sure airports are built by the government for the services of our people. And that's paramount. With recommendation 37, the committee urged the ministry to implement legislative remedies to improve market outcomes for consumers and governance in the telecommunication sector. Chairman, if you look to the communication policy unit, Longo Ministry, we have inserted quite a good amount of money on that, 450,000 to cater for the review of the Telecommunication Act. Also, we are doing the review on the aviation. We also put another 660 for the review, for consultations. But I can assure the chamber today that there's some disagreement between operators, but those have been come to a resolution, and hopefully there will be some good outcome within a few weeks. And I've been telling the Commissioner for Telecommunication to work closely with the operators and also the Ministry to how we can go forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you, Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, sir. Say in relation to recommendation 37, in terms of improving the consumer welfare in the industry, there has been, this contestation between both operators, with one operator, basically controlling the bandwidth. So there needs to be an interconnect. I understand that there is a case between TCSI and that particular operator. What's the outcome of that situation? Because that will really ease him now, the contestation that they have on the interconnect fee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and I thank the MP for Central Honiara for that very important question. Of course, it is important that the interoperability is encouraged within operators, but as the MP member of Central Honiara has stated, there has been a few disagreements, and as he stated clearly, there is a court case on that. The Commissioner for Telecommunication Commission has been given the favor. So there'll be further discussion to enable the interoperability to continue within the various operators. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Chairman PSC.
So, given the favor by the court, what does that mean? It means that the commissioner can make a decision to compel the dominant holder of the band BTF and open him up to other operators, or what does that mean? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, MP, for Senator Honira. As you stated clearly, that's the outcome.
Thank you. With that, let me now put the question. The question is that the sum of $75,837,166. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's the wrong one. It's proposed that the sum of $32,814,604 stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $32,814,604 for head 22 now stand part of the schedule. Next head is head 23, Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. There's one recommendation in the report of PAC. Honourable Minister. Sorry, let me first propose that the sum of $37,037,694 for head 23 stand part of the schedule. Thank you, Honourable Minister. The recommendations. Just one recommendation for your clarification.
Thank you, Chair. Also, I'd just like to thank him, those who very smart to change the way we approach Parliament. And so me thank him, those who thinkers. Let me come to quick down. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've said in my speech, Lord, this for the recommendation, but the sake of this committee, I will be by more. The recommendation talk about the will increase the number of fisheries officers, technical advice and capacity. So yes, the ministry work very, very hard for increasing the number of officers and the technical people, and then we will work with the CDOs or the CDOs or the Maskam Custom, so that we have a fair people actually participating in this program. And so we will increase the storage, seaweed and the transportation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. With that clarification, let me put the question. The question is that the sum of $37,037,694 for head 23 stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $37,037,694 for head 23 now stand part of the schedule. Head 24, Ministry of Public Service, it is proposed that the sum of $35,015,055 for head 24 stand part of the schedule. Does any member wish to comment on this head? There are two recommendations in the report of the PAC you may wish to refer to. Again, Minister, if you have the indulgence, you can clarify the recommendations as contained in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. With regards to the Public Council Committee recommendation on the Ministry of Public Service budget, the first recommendation is the committee recommends that the Ministry continue to work with the Office of the Auditor General and the Ministry of Finance and Treasury to improve the level of professional skills in the accounting and auditing cadre. The Ministry of Public Service is working with the Auditor General and the Accounting General's Office to continue to build the capacity of the accounting career. And next year we will be starting the program for building the capacity block of the accountants, believe me. So that program may already been discussed, and it will definitely going to start next year. With recommendation 40, the committee urges the Ministry of Public Service to reinstate or support bids by critical institutions like the Office of the Ombudsman, Parliament, and the Office of the Auditor General in the 2026 budget. Ministry of Public Service has been working with the institutions of integrity to beef their capacity by increasing their human resources. For the Auditor General Office and Parliament, the Ministry of Public Service has just approved that restructuring. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the elaboration on the recommendations. There are no further comments. The Ministry has been up with the question. The question is that the sum of $15,055 for head 24 now stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. The sum of $35,015,055 for head 24 now stands part of the schedule. Head 25, Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, it is proposed that the sum of $63,403,472 for head 25 stand part of the schedule. If any member wishes to comment here, but I think there's one recommendation before the PAC, and we'll give indulgence for the Minister to explain, please, elaborate on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The recommendation by the committee is the committee noted sizable off-budget support and urges the Minister to encourage donors to appropriate their support in future budgets. As you know, Australia is the only donor supporting justice, and we'll certainly take it up with the donor for appropriating now. But they are the only donor that supporting justice program.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. No comments further. Let me therefore put the question, and the question is that the sum of $63,403,472 for head 25 stand part of the schedule. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. The sum of $63,403,472 for head 25 now stand part of the schedule. Our next head is head 26, Ministry of Home Affairs. It is proposed here that the sum of $81,511,438 for head 26 stand part of the schedule. There's one recommendation, page 189. If the Minister could elaborate on this recommendation. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Recommendation 42, Ministry of Home Affairs. The committee recommends that the remaining facilities be handed over to the National Sports Council and that the $60 million grant be released to them. Chair, National Sports Council is working closely with the National Hosting Authority in returning back the facilities promised in MOU signed on April 2023. The $60 million grant is held up in terms of financial constraints from Ministry of Finance. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Chair, PAC.
Thank you, sir. So, just basically, just to expound a little bit normal of this recommendation, I think it is important that NSC be immediate for stepping up a little bit more capacity for NSC in terms of the accounting responsibility, functionality of NSC. That needs to be stepped up, and they need to be equipped with the, right professional human resource to fill the positions of the accounting positions in the NSC before you may do the delivery of that grant to them Nugut Babaim ended up in the same situation that Imigarem Lord other organization. But congratulations to NSC. All of a sudden they have that big asset, to manage. I think that's the a good thing about this whole arrangement. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that's really need to be done in terms of human resource capacity of NSC.
Thank you, Honourable Chairman. Mr. Honourable Minister, before I put the question.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman, for your question. The capacity of National Sports Commission NSC is up to standard. They have acquired a couple of personnel that will cater for this. So NSC is well equipped in handling grants. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Let me now put the question. The question is that the sum of $81,511,438 for head 26 stands part of the schedule. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. $81,511,438 for head 26 now stands part of the schedule. Head 27, Ministry of Traditional Governance, Peace and Ecclesiastical Affairs. It is proposed here that the sum of $38,608,958 for head 27 stand part of the schedule. There are no recommendations on this from the PAC's report, and therefore I will put the question. The question is that the sum of $38,608,958 for head 27 stand part of the schedule. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $38,608,958 for head 27 now stand part of the schedule. Head 28, Ministry of Mines, Energy and Rural Electrification. It is proposed here that the sum of $20,602,365 for head 28 stand part of the schedule. The four recommendations, Honourable Minister, can you please elaborate and explain the four recommendations? Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, under the Ministry of Mines, there are four recommendations in the PAC report. The first recommendation, Chairman, is with regards to the geochemical lab. So it is a very important infrastructure for Solomon Islands and particularly the mining sector, and it's not a surprise that PAC is raising this one law recommendation block. With the geochemical lab, as you would know, Mr. Chairman, we had a 10 million supplementary allocation, middle of this year, and that one is mainly for procurement of specialized equipment, and also for this for storage, for renovation law, non-residential building law ministry, so that we can be able to store this specialized equipment. So, concern law, geochem lab, I think we all share the concern that we need to have the capacity for asset in quality and quantity block minerals law where export him or operators of export him, especially the associated minerals that cannot be determined at this time. So with regards to the chem lab, in the interim, with the procurement of the specialized equipment where we provided for under the supplementary appropriation, we should be able to have ownership of some of this capacity. With them 10 million, Chairman, 7 million below this for 10 million. Payments have already raised. A Central Tender Board have already approved part of this payments, so around 7 million. We have now within finance and for procurement equipment here. Only 3 million now, but I'm still need him now. Central Tender Board for a meet for him decide him for Sabagim Carbon, and that we were informed that by this Thursday, that is I think day after tomorrow, about a meet, and we hope to have this approved so that we have been procurement of this important specialized equipment. We already have some specialized equipment on top of there, Mr. Chairman, and with this new equipment, we should have the capacity to ascertain the quality and quantity of the minerals, including associated minerals. However, the phase 2 of this important geochem infrastructure is the building, the specialized building, Mr. Chairman. The initial proposal for the building was Putim Nama around the Prisons Ministry. But then, on consultation with some people who are Savelo, what not requirements for this one, in particular SDS, the internationally renowned company we have specialized geochem facilities, we were informed that Babahim had to stay within the prisons because they are not safe. So, Mifala, at the moment, doing consultation with them, Sinu, if we can be allowed to put that there, because Babahim also help them as a research facility for Kata, and also in our goal for Mifala continue for development now, the mining Kada Ministry, partnering with our educational learning institutions. And if that proposal have not go through, then we will be able to liaise with the Ministry of Lands. For me, I'll find them now, any land for that purpose. So that is on the geochem facility. That's why I have no appear now, this budget here. So we are looking forward, if once the land issue is sorted, we will be able to bid for the building infrastructure as phase 2 of that. In supplementary, but also we have ongoing consultations with our development partners, because I have help with that one. So that is on the recommendation, first recommendation with regards to the mining sector. Second one, recommendation 44 in respect of gold and nickel concentrates pricing and be increased and gazetted. Mr. Chairman, the Ministry to the Mines Division have also working in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and also look for establishing a well-structured and transparent technical pricing mechanism. And this will be anchored in international best practice, benchmarks, where with validated scientific data, operational costs, and government fiscal needs. And a successful implementation or a successful activation of this mechanism by allowing the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Mines of the division to confidently revise, increase, and gazette of the official prices and for gold and nickel concentrates. This work is in progress, and there are ongoing consultations for come up with a mechanism. And this mechanism will be able to give us an understanding of fair value capture for state, with regards to gold and nickel. Also, it will give us predictability, the ability to predict mining operations, operators, compliance with the international best practice, as I mentioned in finish. Also, there will be enhanced revenue for Solomon Islands as a whole. The third recommendation, Mr. Chairman, recommendation 45, where the recommendation is for the electricity tariff to be restructured and technically reviewed for reducing now, as we all know, the investment costs and burden of customers with regards to the high tariff for Imigarim. The government can prioritize in this one, Mr. Chairman, with the current review of the electricity tariff and regulations below 2026 to 2030. This one is ongoing workload is for a time. And from this work, the following were recommended for reduction from the non-fuel component of tariff, because non-fuel component of tariff na hembara feed on into masna lo this wala some cost of tariff where hemi make him go up to masil. So the recommended areas were recommended, components were recommended for reduction. The weighted average cost of capital, it is recommended the reduction for the SOE standards at less than 6%. And then the operational expenditure is the recommended reduction in 10%, and capital expenditure, the recommended reduction in 20%. These reductions will cater for the reduction in the non-fuel component of the tariff, where in the end, a significantly reduced tariff rates blaming. For the final recommendation for the Ministry, Mr. Speaker, with the view of SIWA to be reinstated back to the SOEs under the SOE Act, Ministry through the Water Resource Management Director Blo Infala and Team Blohem. Mifala wakalo for development now halaki strategic criteria. This is recommended for assessing and reinstating the state-owned enterprise status below water utility below UMI. The criteria is developed to ensure that the utility operates with strong governance, reliable service performance, financial viability, environmental compliance, and alignment with national development priorities. This is currently ongoing. We are looking at an assessment for Lulukuna, pros and cons below the two different sides of the coin. Upon completion of these tasks, the division will then discuss with SIWA, the SIWA board, and the utility heads for further alignment before reinstatement. However, Mr. Chairman, may like to note that this whole time, even though Solomon Water have no under SOE, we have experiencing a very close working relationship with them water with regards to as compared to when it was SOE. But we will hope for completing this one as soon as possible so that we can see the way forward. Flow what now, future blow Solomon Water, Siwa, as an SOE, whether by him become SOE or not, but I think the way forward will be very clear after this assessment is done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I think those recommendations are well explained and they are already captured in the report. Any member who wishes to, not to drag it, but to say comment on the recommendations or the Minister's statement.
You may go past quick time lot narrow so that you may come lot key one say, then you may must hover around it good. So firstly, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say I appreciate very much the directions that the government is taking in response to all the recommendations here. This for Geochem Lab, Hemi Baro critical for good. Me disappointment with Ministry of Finance or this one. I think Ministry of Mines is getting its act together and moving quite quickly. Get that CTB to meet and meet regularly. Lord key something. No go see the file, see down log at our place here. This one CTB and hold him up. Start something where, especially key sector whereby I'm helping economy and government revenues here. When PS Finance him come, we will ask him PAC, and he say that hey, we will meet no more. It was a half truth. Okay, this meet no more in the last 2 weeks. Ministry submit him go payments for 7 million here, long time for deal with him. No meet for 3 months. This kind of misleading PAC is misleading Parliament. Yeah, no good. So first thing is priority. This was sector. When we say priority, all agencies of government must treat it as priority. You know, priority law political level no more. Okay, man underneath law you vale. Okay, now must doing something for work. You mean by talk go next tomorrow? But no anything. You get money no act. So CTB is a bottleneck. So everything must come. So Minister of Finance, please put your foot on this for him. Must work. And I like very much, Chairman, the initiative for collaborate with him senior. Then by me developing our own geologists, mining engineers, and chemists, and also here as well going forward. This is going to be an industry that will last the next 200 years. 200 years, if you was to stop it, we will look in country blaming behind very different here. That's why senior partnership is really critical. In terms of nickel and gold price or concentrate prices here, so this initiative also is very good, the direction of look low international prices, look at the indexes here, commodities in published indexes, and work backwards to see what costs are involved in processing, freight, and then you may set them price where me go on FOB from here. That too, by me moving me away from the experience in Migaran lo bauxite lo Renault last time, and the experience where I'm already start lo shipments where I'm happen lo nickel finish from Isabel. We can, I think we can assume safely that in those there's been too much transfer pricing and no fair returns to the country. So that too is a very good initiative. That must go in the regulations. I mean, it's not rocket science, common sense here. So go in the regulations, make them transparent, and give him certainty to everyone. In terms of the tariff structure block, SIEA here, electricity here, this for investment component. This is where SIEA and Busam economy for so long. And Busam go no any blood left for come out, no and bubusa yet. It's really very, very predatory, unfair, and so must reduce it and must start for workers and any other normal business. And that means, of course, fuel tariff must be low there. That's an external matter out of our control. But that investment component, so-called investment component, must be brought within reasonable bands where hemp should be comparable to other similar-sized economies around the region. Me gogolo Samolo last week by every village got power, electricity. True, every road logeta, true. Then every village got electricity. Every village now. Cut cross lo island go narset, same too. Say my karagi melohim go out kasing no makakabona no mana. So and because SIA make them impossible. And make them too impossible, too difficult. And so that's good. Bring it down. Of course, when you bring it down, you need to be thinking ahead in terms of the power purchase agreement with TINA. Because when TINA comes on, those calculations were made on a certain level of tariff whereby SIA and buying power from TINA. So it does need to be viable. So that's something for Ting Ting Lohem. And coupled with this, of course, is rooftop solar for encouraging households in Honiara for Putum. And SIA has been making so much money, SIA should be buying all that solar, installing it on roofs, and buying the power back from customers. Time mogata producing excess, Mr. Chairman. That must be looked at as part of the comprehensive study law tariff, electricity tariff. With regards to reinstatement of Solomon Water under Longo SOE Act, the work that you are doing, that is great. That work should have been done, a long time ago. Perhaps it should have been done before SIWA was removed from the SOE Act schedule. But that work should not substitute, really, for reinstatement of SIWA under the schedule. That work should affirm the need for SIWA to be within the schedule of Longo SOE Act. Because what the SOE Act does is increase the governance requirements, and so it shouldn't end up in a situation where the board is adversarial with the ministry. It should not be in that situation, because minister actually hold them a lot of powers here. Our experience when ministry had come before Bills Committee last time when we were looking at SOE amendments was that ministry was oblivious. Ministry did not know that the minister possessed, all ministers of government entities that are under the SOE Act schedule possess immense powers, but there is an arm's length and a structure and a process to how that power is used. That's what we need. If Hemi go outside of the SOE schedule, there is power, but that power can be used willy-nilly. And it's not good for governance, it's not good for stability, commercial operations, and certainly not good for predictability in terms of board and management decision making. So we really would encourage the minister to move and move efficiently towards that. Of course, the issue that precipitated the removal of Solomon Water from the SOE Act schedule, that is an issue that Hemi murky a little bit, Hemi tainted with all sorts of interests. And I think the sooner we cut off those interests and serve the national interest, I think the clearer, the sooner we see a much clearer picture of what we should do. And Minister is taking steps on that particular matter. This fella company, where Indian company, it's a corn company. that's involved Lokongulai treatment project here. But you see, the problem with this is the Kongulai component is 5 or 6% of the much larger project, which is the trunk lines and then Luluklo Lungai. So that's a bigger component, and we shouldn't allow this small 5 or 6% of it for then hold up the rest of this program. This is why let's get our act together, let's be decisive, let's take the right decisions for this one, so that we can carry on with the main trunk line project and get Lunga on. Kongula is only 30% of the supply of water to a very highly, increasing growth of population or city. So we're going to need Lunga to come on stream, but if Kongula may drag on, then Lunga will be further and further out. So our eyes must not be taken off the ball. Let's get Lunga in so that we don't have the situation where big rain or sand and water cut. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Honourable
Chairman, thank you.
Leader. Let me now put the question. The question is that the sum of $20,602,365 for Head 28 stand part of the schedule. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $20,602,365 for Head 28 now stands part of the schedule. Next head is Head 29, National Judiciary. Here it is proposed that the sum of $41,819,897 for Head 29 stand part of the schedule. There are, I think the Minister, there are 5 recommendations. If you can have time to explain those recommendations before I call the question. The 5 recommendations on the report of the PAC. Honourable Minister. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, the committee recommends that the judiciary engage with the Minister
National Planning and Development
Coordination and Development Partners to secure development-focused assistance in line with national budget requirements. Certainly we'll do that, Mr. Chairman. We will coordinate with the MDPAC so that we go forward from here. Thank you. So recommendation 2, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance establish clear standards to ensure all judicial roles are appropriated. We will come to that very soon because we're trying to get the autonomy for the judiciary. So once we come there, it's still on the drawing board. They are working on a model that we will adopt and we will certainly bring the judiciary autonomy to Parliament for passing, and that will be catered during that time. Thank you. The next recommendation is the committee recommends that the judiciary pursue donor funding to supplement resourcing for judicial appointments and strategy development for longer-term sustainability. With that recommendation, we are looking at donor support for our critical positions within the judiciary so that we understand that our package is not that good. And so we're trying to get donors to top up the normal salaries that we have so that we have better qualified personnel to look after our judiciary. And the other recommendation is the committee recommends that the judiciary restructure its budget to introduce separate line items for all 5 court tiers: Court of Appeal, Court of the High Court, Magistracy, Local Court, and Customary Land Appeal Court. The committee further recommends that each gazette jurisdiction be individually itemized. Example, Malaita, whatever, CLSC, and the magistracy. Certainly, we will get it done for the next year's budget. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Recommendation 51.
Oh, sorry, the last one is the committee recommends that the judiciary secure immediate budget in 2026 for the fencing and enhanced security for the Chief Justice residence and prioritize commencement of the legal judges registered. Certainly, the CJ's fencing has started, and we will certainly secure some of the funds to complete that, as well as the Chief Justice residence will be a priority for next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you. Honourable Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. I will not comment on the other responses that are made by the Minister, but Law Recommendation 48, just to be clear on this one, that as you know, the funding of that expert judge here and me out of the non-appropriated funds here, emotion. But we are talking about judicial officer, and when it comes to taxable emoluments, how now it is captured in our jurisdiction, emotion. So that's why we are urging you to just be careful about all of this, because it could even affect him to the integrity of that particular officer itself to it. Employed in the country, but not taxable in this country. So I think you need to work a little bit more just to get clarity on that part, because it does affect the integrity of those holding such an office. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Chairman. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chair. There are points noted, and we will take it up. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, let me now put the question. The question is that the sum of $41,819,897 for 29 sound part of the schedule. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $43,227,241 for head 29 sounds part of the schedule. Thank you. Head 30, next head for consideration. Ministry of Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs. It is proposed that the sum of $14,709,492 for head 30 stand part of the schedule. There are a number of recommendations here, I think 4, for the clarification by the Minister. Before I put the question, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. There are 4 recommendations. First one, the committee recommends the ministry to revise its budget setting strategy by presenting costed activities for each division and avoiding reliance solely on baseline ceilings. Indeed, Mr. Chairman, I understand in the previous budgets, the minister have been relying on baseline ceiling. But as of next year, 2026, the ministry will try as much as possible to strategically prepare budget with costed annual plans and activities in each division to try and convince the budget team at the Ministry of Finance and Treasury, as well as the National Planning Development Ministry, to allocate funding as per costed activities rather than relying on the baseline ceiling each year. The second recommendation, the committee recommends additional budget to be allocated for violence against women and girls prevention, awareness, monitoring, and frontline services, ensuring interventions are not solely donor determined. Mr. Chairman, sir, in the previous years, the ministry had requested for additional funding, even with cabinet approval, but those requests have always been reduced by the budget team at the Ministry of Finance, and it is with this recommendation, we will continue to seek for increase in budget purposely to conduct preventive program and awareness to reduce violence against women, girls, and children. Recommendation number 3, the committee recommends that the government amend budget and allocate funds for the construction of provincial care centers starting in 2026. Under the Family Protection Act 2014, reviewed by multi-sectoral partners in 2023, the recommendations came up with 43 recommendations, and one of them was to build care center for victims of violence against women and girls. As a result, the ministry, along with the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, have submitted together a combined cabinet paper requesting for funding to build a care center for each province for victims of gender-based violence and violence against children, to provide accommodation and support to access SafeNet services before they can be discharged. The combined cabinet paper was approved, but there was no allocation given. But we will follow up with a conclusion on that combined submission and budget for 2027 onwards. The approval then was for 20 million over 5 years. The fourth recommendation, the committee urged a significant increase in funding for youth development programs, including skills training, support for small and medium expertise, and community-based activities. On this, Chairman, sir, yes, now that we have revitalized the National Youth Congress and 9 provincial youth councils, we will make a cabinet paper for more fundings to support these provincial youth councils. Currently, under the ministry development budget, we are aiming to build youth and children center in the country. We have indeed supported to build youth and children center in the Western Province, in Malaita, a youth and children center, and in Central, Temotu and Isabel Province, these are at the tendering stage. For Makiraula Province, bid is for next year, 2026. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. That's all my response to.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, and comments on those recommendations. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. I suppose a common theme, common thread running through I'll get a responses blow minister, blow women, is the fact that finance now cut them even after cabinet approval. And I would say this probably applies across when ministers take papers to cabinet, cabinet approval, then time goal of finance more powerful than cabinet. Finance not over mode budget here. I don't know how that is, how that's supposed to work. Before minister taking paper goal of cabinet, and if it involves budgetary fiscal resources, hen must goal of finance first time and before goal of cabinet. Then finance say, yes, we can do this. We have fiscal space to be able to do it. And then you take paper goal of cabinet now. Cabinet approval now. Cabinet final approval. finance na final approval. No anything osem now. So that finance approval should come first time before go. So please, ministers, not just the women, this hemi come law other ministries too appearing before committee or expressing the same frustration, but it's because you may reverse in this whole process. When you're taking something that has fiscal implications, get them finance for endorsing, make any adjustments, you will do him, then how you face him in, any realistic ones, cabinet him approve him, you may not make a mockery of cabinet approval process. Cabinet now is the executive government. So that's my first comment, Lord, that one. My second comment, Mr. Chairman, Hemi. And one based on need. Also, me telling me yesterday, Chairman, this whole ministry where suffer from the highest neglect now. It gets the least allocation, and it certainly gets the least priority. And Hemi almost as if we don't care as a collective leadership. Do we not care because I'm not touching you? The extent of gender-based violence in our society, very high indeed. Maybe you may not believe me, because perhaps we're insulated. Perhaps you think I'm not touching family blue. I'm touching every single family, including all of ours. So this is not just a social sector investment, it's a safety net, social safety net, big safety net issue for you, me. It affects almost 80%. Long all get women and girls below you mean. But this will be 2026, another year of neglect. He knows more neglect, more gross, deliberate, by design neglect. That's the why PACME recommend go back and revise him budget here. Come with some substantive, meaningful investment that will have a dent. You may reduce him this thing. Let's be committed to it. Let's take a zero tolerance attitude towards this cancer in our midst. The allocations in the budget are not a zero tolerance attitude. It speaks of callousness, light-hearted, neglectful callousness. So it made me part of a big disappointment, worse than disappointment. So we urge the government, we urge you, Prime Minister, to take a lead on this one. and come up with some proactive initiatives. Me fala suggest them law ministry that next year hold them a big consultation where community leaders, church, every stakeholder come together. Let's find the money, let's consult, and let's find some real ways forward to addressing this thing. A big problem to us, this one. Me tell them law ministry, law women here. Call them over at budget unit here and Minister of Finance and present the data before them. So they're really sensitive to these things. Time over insensitive and indifferent and impersonal. Now over no feel him important here or no allocate for him. We have fiscal space. There's money there to allocate. There's money left over to allocate. Allocate, look at Maitaya, suffer on the margins. Well, it's no longer the margins. It's almost 80% of the population of women and girls. No small number here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do thank the Leader of Opposition for his intervention, and of course, the Minister for Women, Youth and Children and Family Affairs who intervened earlier in terms of responding to the recommendations there. Thank you, PAC Chairman and the members. These are very important recommendations. Yes, over the years, we have neglected the important requirements and needs of this important ministry, more than half of our population. So as a coordinating department, we will work very closely with finance and of course with the Ministry of Women so that earlier on in the budget process they come with, as the Minister said, fully costed programs and projects so that we can improve in terms of the budget allocation. We note the point you raised earlier in terms of papers coming to Cabinet. Yes, it's always important that ministries do check with Ministry of Finance in terms of financial implications of programs that they bring to Cabinet. That is important. But Mr. Chairman, it's also important to note, while the allocations in the budget for this ministry are extremely low, and we will work to improve on those, it is also important to note that some of the issues, or even initiatives affecting the Ministry of Women, Youth and Children are also cross-cutting issues. And, they are covered under Ministry of Health, for example, under Ministry of Education, for example. And when you talk about entrepreneurs, some of those initiatives are covered under Ministry of Culture and Tourism, specifically for youth and women, and Ministry of Agriculture as well. So it's not that we have completely neglected or forget about women, children and the youth folk. But I think we need to streamline these programs better, more strategically going forward, so that we can also have milestones, especially under the Ministry of Women, Youth and Children. And at the same time, the other line ministries that do address women issues like health, education, culture and tourism in terms of projects, or even agriculture, I think there is room for improvement on those as well so that we can properly target the needs of our women, youth and children going forward. But thank you for those important observations, and I hope next year we can improve in terms of preparations for 2027, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable MP for Small Malaita.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Me happy Dr. Prime Minister. Just to underscore the sentiments expressed by the Leader of the Opposition, this fellow ministry as a whole, I mean, neglect everyone in this one. Tamil law recommendation number 53 and 55. Sir, hemi look also hemi one fella something. Well, let me say hemi one fella good something. Now hemi put him one fella ministry where hemi deal specifically with this fella. Very, very important and critical element law society, and that's okata family, mom, okata woman, okata girl, and okata youth. That's apart from the fact of some Prime Minister I made telling that they comprise more than 50% of the population of this country. But in so expressing okata sentiments here, it should be left, right, and center law focus law planning, long budgeting, long funding, and thinking as a whole. Because some of these things me point to the fact that you know really thinking good no more about this fella area. Me lacking policy, guideline for me, and of course where Hemi Parama severely lacking is funding for Hemi taking some of these very, very critical things forward. To recommendation, we talem kami talk not only of talk no more infrastructure. The ministry is trying its very best for building infrastructure. But with infrastructure, in order to make an impact, they will need people to work along him, and all the people, they have to be adequately trained, and also something where we need him a lot of investment, Mr. Chairman, and not only investment where by big, it has to be decisive and long term, and by must continue long him. So while appreciating what the government is doing, I think I'd like to echo the frustration but also disappointments expressed by the leader of opposition that collectively have not really looked at this very important part of our society for Putum investment. I think if you may have a plan for 50th anniversary, or some people to talk about the road now and drain and or something, yeah. Man, this one I think more critical for because it determines where we're heading in terms of the solidarity of our society. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Small Malaita. And with that, let me now put a question. Okay. The question is that the sum of $14,709,492 for Head 30 stands part of the schedule. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $14,709,492 for Head 30 now stands part of the schedule. Head 31, next head for consideration, Head 31, Minister of Rural Development. It is proposed here that the sum of $109,713,770 for Head 31 now stands part of the schedule. There are, I think, 3 recommendations in the PAC report. Honourable Minister, you indulge us to comment on those recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to take this time to thank the PAC for putting across this one. 3 recommendations. First one, recommendation 56. The committee recommends that each constituency allocate a fixed amount for national strategic projects that deliver against government priorities, ensuring 50 tangible projects delivered and celebrated each year. Thank you very much, PAC, for this one. We have a budget support for this one, but that was in the capital or the development budget. But this one, we suggest that we need more consultation with, especially the constituency development committees, to identify what are the priority needs. However, my ministry have noted this one for further discussion on it. And recommendation 57, the committee recommends that a biannual review of the price listing for the pre-qualified supply arrangement be undertaken by the ministry in 2026 to ensure better value for money for CDF procurements. We noting
fraction. And for information too, my ministry is currently reviewing all PSA at this time for finding out what now prices and all these things. For recommendation 58, the committee recommends that all constituency delivery for public purpose must be funded out of appropriated funds to avoid external political interferences. Yes, it's also we need some consultation with our donor partners, especially our major donors like the PRC and the Australian government through the community partnership grant. I mean, they are the ones who involve more on rural areas, especially with projects. So we noted this one for further discussion and consultation, especially with our donor partners. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition, comment on the recommendations.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And I thank the Minister for all the responses. Blohem on the pre-qualified supplier arrangement, the price margins here, Barawa, unjustifiably, unreasonably different from normal price block, wholesale price block. So it's a matter that I think it's important that Ministry keeps a very close tab on. In terms of recommendation 58, sir, this I think strikes at the heart of the sovereignty of this country. When members of parliament become involved in administering or receiving funds from foreign countries, it lends parliament, it lends government vulnerable, because you may not like doing anything for jeopardizing foreign funding here. So this comment is not against any foreign country. It's about us preserving our decision making from compromises that Hemikamlo individual leaders level. The experience we've had, or you've all new one where this come, you've all know garam this fall experience, but some of them you've all were 2-3 years, you've all stuff in his year. Before time blow Taiwan, and time blow Taiwan before here. Taiwan no get sensitive to much law mainland, so get a use him now, selling block it there, and not for fund them law constituencies, so that you may member, you may support them and also. It's got a geopolitical or political angle to it. But even if there is no political angle to funding from foreign powers, foreign countries, sir, you may leaders now make a decision here inside the parliament, in committees, and in the executive, in cabinet and in caucus time if all meet here. When you're making those decisions are influenced by positioning yourselves for receiving foreign funding, decision making blaming him be compromised and him not good for our sovereignty. So him not this for recommendation him come lo him and him no minim by no fund them government now. They can fund other areas of government, but him free up government resources blow you miss a level now or fund them constituencies. Because member of parliament now on top, sit down on top of constituency, and that member now you must preserve him independence blow him, decision making blow him critical to our sovereignty. So I think this you mean no postpone him too long. A matter where first cabinet must meet lo him, so take him cabinet paper lo him. Once you agree that yes, this is the policy position to take, then the next thing after that is just, okay, how do we allocate from 2027 onwards, yeah? And then we talk to the donors who are involved in supporting constituencies in some way or another to say, you by no longer directly fund go inside law. We talk about it through law CDF here, and well, right now only one donor, no more RSDP, and it's non-appropriate, but it still fund go law constituency. If donors are doing or some grassroots or the other schemes where or they're doing their own initiatives for all category, that's fine. If something or do himself, any communities or constituencies or the receiver projects, that's fine. But where he involve a member now, you may try to protect them, the independence, decision making below members. So this one, we've been raising it a number of years, but I think it's time we take a policy position to safeguard the sovereignty of our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. If there are no further comments.
Just one more question, sorry. RSDP report below 2023. Is one complete now? Because 2024, no any RSDP because 2023 bakar up now. So, but also by report lohem. So, report ready? Can it be tabled so we can all have a look? Thank you.
Thank you. Noted. Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Leader of the Office of the Opposition. With regards to the RSDP report 2023, I think always we will not any good information about it, but I have to refer back to PRC for what now. If what government report with them for thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you. Can I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he has seen such a report for 2023 RSDP?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader. Not that I have seen one, but I think the issue was how the report should be prepared following submissions from MRD at that time. So the question was whether it will be a summary or a detailed report. But I have not seen whether it's a summary or detailed report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, I am very concerned, sir, that it seems RSDP 2023, you will not care although they are non-appropriated and strictly not SIG funds, they were given by China to the people of Solomon Islands still, which you may be responsible for him. If you haven't seen the report, and that's okay, it should not be okay. You should be asking for that report. Or are you hiding something, you're protecting somebody? 80 million you may talk about it, by just sweeping under the rug also no more. Many constituencies did not get their allotment for 2023, and that's okay. It's not. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, this one no austerity. Me assumption lo me is what steal him selling or what steal him, and some powerful people in this house are protecting those who stole it. Either you're involved in it or you're hiding it. Why am I so hard to get this report? Zero accountability. We're talking about 80 million, Mr. Chairman. You know, Sisimol Selen. If Minister knows have anything about him, ay, my karagi. If Prime Minister go more, iwi man. We may know go to now. Can I please urge the Prime Minister, do something about it, get a report of this one, table him in the House, make everyone look him, so that we don't ascribe blame where it is not due. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Leader of Opposition, for that request and intervention. We'll look into it. It's very important. Nobody is hiding anything, and we need to be clear on that. So we'll get back to the embassy on this important matter. Thank you.
Thank you, and with that assurance, let me now put the question. The question is that the sum of $713,770 for head 31 stands part of the schedule. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $109,713,770 for head 31 now stand part of the schedule. Head 32, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology. It is here proposed that the sum of $36,750,491 for 32 stand part of the schedule. There are two recommendations in the PHC's report. Honourable Minister, if you can expound on the recommendations, please.
Thank you, Chairman. My ministry have two recommendations. The first one is number 59. This one is about the additional budget. The second one is number 60, and it's about state of the environment. The first one, the ministry welcomed the recommendation for budget increase for monitoring and reporting. This one is important investment for the ministry. Next year, the ministry will increase the human resources and manpower to provide service to the provinces. We propose 5 positions next year establishment. We will work with the Ministry of Public Service on those positions. For recommendation 2, it's progressing with project support. My ministry will update of the current report once completed next year. One of the challenges that the ministry is facing is the data sharing with other stakeholders. So we are working on with the other ministry and stakeholders to ensure we have the data available in our reporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. If no comments on the head, sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The Director of Environment is a very key position inside local government for safeguarding environment and to moderate, interventions in the environment in terms of development and so forth. So any under-resourced and understaffed as well. And so if we do nothing else, that position must be staffed with the support he needs so that they're able to do monitoring and compliance and enforcement. So environment critical. The committee was taken aback really by the fact that, and this applied right across all ministries, because budget finance hemi talem budget hemi baseline no mo, yeah? And so staka law ministries come or get oh me all baseline no more, so me will not even bid now because all say no need baseline no more. And so we've already established that's not a good approach to budgeting, because then hemi make them key positions also. The budget is no longer needs based, but hemi just go low baseline where hemi really artificial and hemi perhaps time sensitive. So that's why the recommendation 59 hemi go for urgent government for allocate. There's fiscal space, so it can be done. So perhaps in the supplementary ministry survey, come back more and ask for a little bit more. Still not this one. And this, even more important when you be thinking about bauxite, Lorraine earlier. You be thinking about nickel, Gogo Soy nickel, Isabel, gold mining, Goldridge. Director of Environment, I'm expressing frustration with him that he is unable to monitor compliance, law conditions, law license, once I'm issuing development consent to him. And understandably, what can he do with 3 or 4 people? It's an impossible task. So I think, where the government's going to be earning revenue out of mining, some of that revenue must go towards environmental governance. This is important to us. So we urge the government to really take this matter seriously as we increase in mining operations. We should have had this anyway because we've had logging and so forth, but we didn't. So let's just do it now. Better late than never. The environment is our license to exist in these islands. If we are not good stewards of the environment, we run the risk of our own very existence. The other recommendation law, State of Environment report here, the current legislation, Environment Act, may require them every 3 years. But given the level of environmental exploitation and the degradation that has gone with it over the years from logging, and now you may go into mining here, this matter should become an annual report, so that each year we are tracking how the environment is being degraded or being looked after, and issues of mitigation also, you may address them on a timely basis. See, time you may talk about environmental bond there, which is not in the mines legislation, it's not in the environment legislation, but if there was regular reporting, this matter you may address him quick time finish here, or big hole Loreno there, you may address him finish it before company may close himself and him run away. So we are shooting ourselves in the foot by not having more regular reports. So that would require an amendment to the Environment Act. Please come with it. If the review for new environment bill by take time it, come amend them that one first then. Make a requirement for annual reporting on the state of the environment. That way each year the minister not only presents it, but makes a statement on the floor on that. Then Parliament has the opportunity to debate it and look lohem. It's important to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman. For the additional budget, I think the increase of the human resources for the provinces, that's why we are asking to increase the number so that they can work on in the provinces. For the state of enterprises, state of environment, we will work with AG on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me now put, sorry, Honourable Chairman, PAC.
Thank you, Chair. Just for supporting a little bit more Leader of Opposition or comments that he has made. Thank you, Leader. Excellent comments on those recommendations. Just on the state of the environment no more. Say, I just want to put this comment that because it does include the biodiversity of the whole country. You treat our biodiversity as our bank account. You deplete him, you exploit him, and then you misuse him. This country is going to be poor. So I always refer to the state of the environment here in relation to our biodiversity as the world-blue country. And say, as you know, I had the privilege of producing the first State of the Environment report here to this very honorable House in 2019, I think, 2009. And I had the privilege of working with one of our first lady member of Parliament to produce that and enact that legislation in this House. In 1998, I was Permanent Secretary at that time, the Honourable Member Blow. At that time, he was the Honourable Member for East Central Guadalcanal. Yeah. And as you look back, how we have managed this legislation, sorry, I'm not referring to anything. Me almost like cry to you. Almost. Why are we treating this very, very important instrument in such a way? Minister, I just want to say this to you, and Prime Minister, please just take note of him. I don't take, the reasons that, we don't have the data with our stakeholders. When you develop the partnership in the first place to do those tasks and produce a report, we have that partnership one time over there. In fact, I had the privilege of leading them to the COP meeting law Copenhagen too. For rewarding Mogota, for the task that they did at that time to produce that first, state of the environment report. So, Minister, next year, please, I don't expect you to respond to this one. Yeah? Just take note of him, and then do something next year. That report is overdue. In fact, I think, it is incumbent upon yourself and the responsible officers, to ensure that the mandatory requirement that is imposed by that legislation for you to produce the state of the environment. Otherwise, what's the use of us attending COP meeting or all these overseas meetings when we don't know the state of our environment? To say that, the state of the environment is like this. In fact, we don't have an updated state of the environment in that regard. So, please, Minister, next year, take some serious action to ensure that, we know exactly what is the stage of the wealth of our country going forward. Then we would be in a comfortable position to put our position right in these matters. Thank you. I have no much more comment for supporting leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chairman of PAC. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, MP for Central. Like I mentioned before, the review of the state of environment, I'm not just for a new bill, yeah? But that new bill, I'm with him 18 this time. So hopefully it should be ready by next year. Thank you.
Thank you. And with those, all right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Very briefly, just to supplement the response from the Minister. Of course, in terms of the environmental report or state of the environment, yes, we will be encouraging a sort of cross-sectoral approach in terms of preparing this report, because it involves a number of sectors, as the Chairman of PAC can appreciate, not only environment but also forestry and, of course, mining and even agriculture in terms of land use and land use planning. So we will take a cross-sectoral approach towards preparing this very, very important state of the environment report, noting, of course, the crucial legal requirements. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. And let me put the question. The question is that the sum of $36,750,491 for head 32 stands part of the schedule. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $36,750,491 for head 32 now stands part of the schedule. The last headful consideration here, before we come to the budget support provisions, it's head 33, Solomon Islands Independent Commission Against Corruption. It is proposed that the sum of $6,576,533 for head 33 stand part of the schedule. If any member wishes to comment on that, but please let me invite the Prime Minister to, first of all, highlight the recommendations. There are two recommendations. Yes, recommendations 61 and 60 in the PAC report. Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and I do thank the PAC for its recommendations on the CCAC. There are three recommendations, recommendation 61, 62, and 63. In terms of recommendation 61, I think as a coordinating department, again, the Office of the Prime Minister, we will work closely with the Commission as well as the AG Chambers in terms of recommendation 61, which relates to the amendment of the Anti-Corruption Act, as well as addressing other operational needs as per outlined in the recommendation, and of course, long-term, the need to commence planning on a new proceeds of crime and asset recovery act for Solomon Islands. So the Office of the Prime Minister will work with the Commission and the Attorney General's Chambers to look at these issues, Mr. Chairman. In terms of recommendation 62 for the SICAC to obtain additional budget to identify suitable land, this is about establishing a land or a new office or an independent office for SICAC. This will require land, so we'll work closely with the Ministry of Lands to identify possible sites for this building. And as usual, we'll start with designs and getting funding in the budgets to start with design going forward. Recommendation 63, that relates to the Commission to engage with MPS, Ministry of Public Service, in terms of unfreezing vacant positions there. Again, as the coordinating department or agency, will work with MPS, Ministry of Public Service, to assist the Commission in this regard going forward so that they are fully resourced and staffed to undertake their responsibilities. But for the first time now, SICAC, as we know, has its own separate budget head. Of course, it's not sufficient, but let's work on that going forward to continue to resource these important integrity institutions. And as I've said earlier, we will also work on ensuring that the Ombudsman and the Leadership Commission also have the necessary staff and resources for them to effectively discharge their mandated responsibilities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Before I put the question, any comments on that recommendation? Sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. Just a short note, no more for urging Prime Minister in the looking at amendments to the Independent Commission Against Corruption for deal with illicit wealth. This has been common for the last a long time to us now. A lot of corrupt money goes by cash. So it's impossible for even this commission or police for tracing through the banks, because it's all by cash. But that cash will end up somewhere. End up man where no garab seleno, when garab stuck a tarake or stuck a house or stuck a land, or that's all illicit wealth. The current legislation doesn't deal with that. And that was by design at the time too, unfortunately. It was deliberately left out. But let's really have the resolve, bring it in, and let's draw the line somewhere. And in the we must progress. We must move away. What kind something? Make them government blue me, country blue me, shackled, chained, and so we're not liberated to achieve the potential that our country is capable of. So let's address it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to acknowledge the important point that raised by the Leader of Opposition in terms of the potential amendments or important amendments that we would like to see included in the review and amendment of the Anti-Corruption Act. We'll take that on board. I know, I recall there has been a lot of debate on this illicit wealth, some people say unexplained wealth, so we'll look into those issues going forward as part of the review of the Anti-Corruption Act. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. With that, let me now put the question. Question is that the sum of $6,576,533 for Head 33 stands part of the schedule. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $6,576,533 for Head 33 now stands part of the schedule. Honourable members, we have completed all the heads of the recurrent expenditure of the schedule, and it is proposed that the total recurrent estimates of $3,990,644,446 stand part of the schedule. Unless any other member wishes to comment on this, I will put the question. And the question is that the total recurrent estimates of $3,990,644,446 stand part of the schedule. All those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The total recurrent estimates of $3,990,644,446 therefore stand part of the schedule. Honourable members, there is also under this provision the recurrent budget support, which we must also dispose of because part of the recurrent expenditure. And this first one is on head 04, Office of the Auditor General, and page 4 of the bill. If you refer to the appropriation bill, of the draft recurrent estimates, the question is that the sum of $1,530,000 for head 04 stand part of the schedule. Does any member wish to comment on this head? And this is head 04, Office of the Auditor General. Any comments on that? And well, I'll put a question. The PAC findings are also on page 29 and 35 of the PAC report on this bill. I think that's well taken care of. We have to take a vote on this as a budget support under the recurrent expenditure. The question, therefore, is that the sum of $1,530,000 for head 04 stand part of the schedule. Those in favor, you say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum of $1,530,000 for head 04 now stand part of the schedule. Head 05, next one, budget support, Minister of Education and Human Resources Development. The question is that the sum of $72,753,601 for head 05 stand part of the schedule. Any member wish to comment on this provision? Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. ME almost 4:30, and in the spirit of the earlier understanding that was reached for the speeding up process, I would suggest that because we may come out big ones now, education, health, and police are the three big ones, low budget support, and it's important that we have a look at it because PAC. The main theme of PAC no is to bring non-appropriated into the appropriations framework. I cannot delve into specifics. So we would like to be allowed to do some inspection into police, health, and education, called the big ones. So in that light, therefore, I suggest that Minister Hemi move now. Minister Hemi move suspension of standing order, make me continue tomorrow. Then you may finish in the rest of the budget support and me clear one no more. We'll just let it pass or send me do me. And then we can move to the development budget. Tomorrow, 12:30, big lunch law on top now, so you shall go lunch now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. But the narrative for the budget support, while they appear on the schedule, did it come before the PAC, Public Accounts Committee report? Because it's not captured in the report of the PAC.
Yeah, so this is why I'm saying it's good for us to spend just a little bit of time on those for three big ministries, and one agriculture is the other one. It's a big program, so they're very really important. Although funded by donors, but they're still important programs for government.
Minister of Finance, please comment on the approach.
Thank you, Chair. I think we cover, especially for the recurrent, and of course, I'm sure that when it comes to education, health, and Ministry of Finance, or even others that probably will be raise some issue in relation to the budget support. Of course, the recommendation from PAC, especially for the non-appropriated fundings, must be incorporated in the appropriation bills going forward. So I think we noted that. I think with the recommendation from the leader of opposition, I think for tomorrow or morning probably we can dispose the rest, especially part 2 and the development budget. So if you think we can suspend standing order, then we can do it tomorrow to dispose in the morning part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And procedurally, this is the way that we approach from the recommendation by the minister and also the comments by the leader of opposition. And let me say this, that we have covered enough for this sitting, and I will therefore ask the Minister of Finance to adjourn committee proceedings to the next sitting day. That's the process. And I will now call on the Minister to take the necessary steps. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair, I move according to Standing Order 35-4 that the proceeding of the Committee of Supply is adjourned to the next sitting day.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, the question is that the proceedings of the Committee of Supply is adjourned to the next sitting day. All those in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The proceedings of the Committee of Supply is therefore adjourned to the next sitting day. Thank you. Parliament is resumed. Honourable members, it is apparent that the proceedings of the Committee of Supply cannot be completed today. Therefore, the relevant standing orders will have to be suspended to extend the allotted days in order for the Committee of Supply to complete its consideration of the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025. Hence, I will ask the Minister of Finance to take the necessary steps. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek your consent under Standing Order 81 to move the suspension of the relevant standing order.
Thank you. Leave is granted, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I move that the Standing Order 63-1 is suspended to allow the Committee of Supply to continue its consideration of the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025 by adding the one extra allotted days.
Thank you, Honourable members. It is proposed that the Standing Order 63-1 be suspended to allow the Committee of Supply to continue its consideration of the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025 by adding an extra allotted day. Any comments before I put the question? Thank you, Honourable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, me just like to take this opportunity to thank the Honourable Prime Minister and the Opposition Leader for my proposal of the point of order on the 64.3. Today I'm looking at budget proceeding and bar overflow now, and there are a lot of order in this Honourable House. Mr. Speaker, I support the motion moved by the Finance Minister of the relevant standing order for us to move on the sitting day. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, the question is that Standing Order 63.1 is suspended to allow the Committee of Supply to continue its consideration of the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025 by adding an extra allotted day. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Standing Order 63.1 therefore stands suspended, and the Committee of Supply shall continue its consideration of the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025 when it resumes tomorrow. Honourable Prime Minister, to move the adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I move that Parliament do now adjourn.
Thank you, all members. The question is that Parliament do now adjourn. All those in favour, please say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Parliament is now adjourned until 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, 10th December 2025.